Father in heaven, Father in heaven, we pray a blessing upon our class. May you open our understanding that we can grasp any ideas that are difficult to understand. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, before I move on to the new lesson, let me go through each test paper and discuss any problem that might still be lingering in your minds. All right, I begin with Brother Solin's paper. And let me start with number 1. Okay, the question was to make the feminine singular noun based on the masculine singular noun Zeus. And Brother Solin, would you like to tell us how you arrived at your answer? You added A and N to Zeus.
Oh no, I was supposed to put an H. Wait, I actually thought I had an H there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me enlarge it.
I don't know, perhaps if it is because, I'm writing ebook, and so the, let's say the dictionary could be trying to do the automatic correction, and I didn't realize. Perhaps this is what happened.
All right, so you remembered putting H.
Yes, that's what I thought I have done. I don't remember putting it, but that's what I should have done, and I thought this is what I supposed to do.
Okay. All right. We also find a number, well, everything else is correct on your paper. You were asked to put the masculine plural noun for Zeus, and that is the addition of I am. In Hebrew, that is long hirik, the long I sound, and mem. In number 3, you were asked to put the feminine plural of Zeus, and you added OTH, which is holem, and thao, which is the feminine plural ending that gave you Susoth. Then for the adjectives, in number 4, you were asked to make the feminine singular from the masculine singular noun tov, and you added kamis a or ah to tov, giving you tova, which is correct. The same thing is true for the adjective. Tov, you were asked to make the masculine plural adjective, just like you were told to make the masculine plural noun in number 2, and you added long hirik, that is a long I sound, and mem, which is I am in English letters. You were also told in number 6 to give the feminine plural of tov, and you put tovoth, OTH being the feminine plural ending. And then in the other section on the right side of the screen of the test, you were to have a matching adjective for the noun. So if it's a masculine singular noun like Zeus, and you were to get the masculine singular adjective for the word good, which is tov,
Yes.
you put the right matching adjective here, because the masculine adjective matches the masculine noun, and the singular adjective matches the singular noun. So you had Zeus for the noun, which is masculine singular, and you had tov, which is also masculine singular, good horse. Then you had Susa as the noun, a feminine singular noun, Susa, which is a female horse, or mare, M-A-R-E in English. You put the matching adjective, which is a feminine singular adjective, of the adjective tov, which is tova. The same thing is true with the masculine plural noun, susim, horses. You put the matching adjective tovim beside it, which is a masculine plural adjective. And for the feminine plural noun, susoth, you had the matching adjective tovoth, OTH being the sign of the feminine plural. So you had a matching adjective for a matching noun. Feminine plural adjective for a feminine plural noun. So the only thing that you missed, and I knew you knew the right answer, is this one up here. This was a loss of 10%. This gives you 90%. As you have said, you're not sure what you put there, but you knew the answer. And so that is your grade here.
Yes. For the set of questions from question 7, I really didn't understand. I mean, I asked you, but actually I'm not sure I understood the question. So I actually guessed and then you would have mentioned that if I looked to the questions on the right, I would have been able to get the answer. But really, I actually guessed my way through questions 7 to 10, which I don't think is a good thing. I really thought I knew what I was doing.
Okay. Let me get to that.
I think I understood the question properly, from 7 to 10.
Or let us look at that section of the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get it on the screen. Okay, this is the test, and you're speaking about the right side of the page. Can you see it? Can you all see it?
Yes, Brother Buckler.
All right. So in this section here,
Yes, I'm seeing.
the direction says an adjective must agree with a noun in gender and number. In other words, when it says agree, it must match. So if it is a feminine noun, you need a feminine adjective. If it is a singular noun, you need a singular adjective. That is what is meant by agree. So you cannot put a feminine adjective with a masculine noun. You cannot put a plural adjective with a singular noun. There has to be an agreement. There must be a matching. For example, here is Seuss, and Seuss is a masculine singular noun. In gender, it is masculine. The masculine does not have any one form for ending it. The different masculine nouns have different endings. So Seuss ends with samek or s. Now we have to find an adjective that agrees with Seuss in gender and also agrees with Seuss in number. So since this is a masculine noun, there is a need for a masculine adjective. Now you may ask, what adjective is it that I must write on these lines? So over here in the rest of the direction, it says for numbers 7 to 10, put an adjective on the blank line, which translated into English from the Hebrew means good. Well, you just need to go over here. Form the feminine singular form of the adjective tov, which means what? Good. Form the masculine plural form of the adjective tov, which means what? Good. Form the feminine plural form of the adjective tov, which means what? Good. So tov means what? Good. So over here, I am trying not to tell you the Hebrew word, but you should already know it from doing numbers 4, 5, and 6, that the Hebrew word tov means good in English. So for numbers 7, 8, 9, and 10, put an adjective on the blank line, which translated into English from the Hebrew means good. Write the correct Hebrew forms. And what I mean is the correct Hebrew forms of the adjective good, because the adjective good comes in different forms. You have, for example, the masculine singular form, which is tov. You have the feminine singular form, which is tova, which is this one here, feminine singular form. You have the masculine plural form, which is tovim, and you have the feminine plural form, which is tovot. Now let us apply this over here. This is a masculine singular noun. So we need a masculine singular adjective of the adjective tov. Well, tov is a masculine singular adjective. So tov, teth, holem, beth, tov, would fit right here on this line. So it would be sus, tov. It would be sus, tov. Sus being the noun, tov being the adjective. And tov agrees with sus in gender because both are masculine. And it agrees with sus in number because both are singular in number, referring to one horse, not more than one, but one horse. So sus, tov would be good horse or a good horse. Then susa, remember that the AH or the kamis he ending, the AH or kamis he ending is a sign of the feminine gender. So this is a feminine gender. It's also singular in number. So we need an adjective, a form of tov, which is also feminine and singular. Why feminine? Because it must agree with susa in gender. Why singular? Because susa is a singular noun. So you need a feminine gender singular noun of the form of the adjective tov, which is tova. Now notice how it goes together. You have susa, tova. Horse, good, or good horse, referring to a female horse. Then this number 9, susim, is masculine plural. It's the masculine plural noun, and it means horses. Well, what form of tov would match this? What form of tov would be masculine in gender and plural in number? Well, it would be, based on number 5, form the masculine plural of the adjective tov. That would be tovim. Teth, holem, veth, long hirik, mem, tovim. So tovim would be put here. Susim, tovim. Horses good or good horses. Then susoth. Notice holem, thou is the ending for the feminine plural. So this refers to female horses. So we need a form of tov which agrees with susoth in gender, that is it's feminine, and number, that it is plural. Number 6 would have helped us here. Form the feminine plural form of the adjective tov, good. Well, that would be tovot. So you add holem thao to tov, and you get tovot. You put it right here, tovot. Susoth, tovot. Horses are female horses or mares, good mares. So this section is the real matching section, that you match the gender of the adjective with the gender of the noun. You match the number of the adjective with the number of the noun. So tov, sus tov, good horse. Susa, tova, good mare or good female horse. Susim, tovim, good horses. Susoth, tovoth, good mares or good female horses. Any other question or feedback on this section 7, 8, 9, and 10?
Yes, no, I think I understand now.
Okay, I will soon go to your paper individually, but I'm going to be going now to Brother Roy's paper. So I'm going to be sharing his paper at this time. And let us see what he did. Okay, this is Brother Roy's paper. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. This is Brother Roy's paper. So Susa, he got that one correct. The feminine singular noun for Sus is Susa. The masculine plural form of Sus is Susim. However, in giving the feminine plural form of Sus, he put in at the end of Sus. But remember that the mark or sign of the feminine plural is OTH, or holem thao, OTH. So it shouldn't end in N, but it should end in OTH. So Susoth should have been the answer. Do you have any question about Susin in number 3?
No, sir. But I think I had the same problem like Sister Whooper. I misunderstand some of them.
Okay. So OTH is the sign of the feminine plural. We come now to the adjective part of the first section of the test. Form the feminine singular adjective of tov, and you just add AH to tov, and you get the feminine singular noun, tova. Form the masculine plural form of the adjective tov. You just add IM, which is the sign of the masculine plural, and that's tovim. You are consistent, though, in putting IN as the ending for the feminine plural. You have tovin, just like you have susin. But remember that the feminine plural ending is holem thao, or OTH. So it's supposed to be tovoth. Now to the second section, in which you have to match the adjective with the noun. The masculine singular adjective tov matched the masculine singular noun sus. The feminine singular adjective tova matched the feminine singular noun susa. The masculine plural adjective tovim, well, you got it right over here. You got it right. Well, oh yeah, you have it right for the masculine. The masculine plural tovim matches the masculine plural noun susim. And you got it right here, see, tovoth. You didn't put tovin, you put tovoth. Matches the feminine plural noun susoth. Okay, so any question on what you got wrong, especially? Any question about it?
No, sir. As I have said before, I misunderstood some of the questions. It's
Okay.
on my side.
All right, well, let us look now at the third test paper. That's Sister Hooper's test paper. Yes, this is it. Okay, let me enlarge the screen so you can see. All right, good. Okay, form the feminine singular of sus, and you have susa, which is correct. Form the masculine plural of sus, and you have susim. The only problem here is that this dot under the samic is not accurate because the long vowel is used. This is the short vowel hirik, but it is the long vowel hirik that is used in susim. So you have the yod up here to the left hand of samic, and underneath samic you have the dot. So the short hirik or the short I is just the dot, but the long I consists of the dot under the consonant and the yod to the left-hand side of the consonant, susim. Form the feminine plural of sus, and you have susoth. Okay, only that you have to be careful, not just to put the wow, but to put the dot above the wow. All right, so this is okay because this is part of sus, but the feminine plural is a wow, the dot above the wow. I'm not sure if I don't see any dot above the wow here. Then in the same first section, form the feminine singular of tov, which is good, an adjective meaning good. Well, you have it here, tova. Form the masculine plural of tov, you have tovim. And be careful how you write the veith. This is correct. This veith is correct. It's more square in shape. You tend to make this look almost like a semicircular object. But this is susim. No, this is tovim. And this is tovoth. Okay, tovoth. All right, which are correct. Now let us look over at this side. Tov is correct for sus because this is a masculine singular adjective matching a masculine singular noun sus. You have to, but there's a missing vowel here. There is supposed to be a kamis or an a underneath the veith, giving tova, just like you had done over here. This is what you should have written up here.
Yes.
You should have the A or the kamis underneath the veith.
Okay.
Yes. Tovim, again, what has happened is that you didn't follow the example over here, number 5. This is tovim, and it consists of the yod to the left side of veith and the dot underneath the veith. Together, the yod and the dot under the consonant is the long vowel symbol I, the long I. What you have here is a short vowel symbol representing the short I, but you should have a yod here to the left-hand side of the consonant veith, tovim. Then over here, you should have tovoth, but there is a missing vowel here. The same vowel you have here. Okay, the vowel here that you should have is similar to this one, but you should have what is called a shurek, like the one here. Let me see if I can find it. No, I was correct. The same vowel that you have here should also be between teth or t and veith, just like you have it here. You see, you have the whole M here, which is a long O sound, and you have another whole M here, which is another long O sound. So there is a long O missing here. A whole M is missing between the teth
Okay.
and the vase.
Okay.
But basically, you were on the right track. Even if you didn't understand, you were basically on the right track. Okay, so these are the corrections that I made and the
Yeah.
comments that I made for each one that you lost maybe a point in. I didn't take off much. For number 2, I just took off 1%. For number 9, I took off 1%. For number 8, I took off half of it. That is 5%. Let me see. Yeah, because you missed out a vowel here, tova, the kamis under the V. All right. Any other question about the test that you did last week?
Well, not a question, but I think I'm gonna have to make sure that I review the paper before I send it over.
All
To
right.
make sure that everything was right.
It happens to everybody. That is why we have to be very careful when we finish a test to look over it and to see that we have everything correctly typed or written. Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn, to review the test, and then only after reviewing it carefully, sending it. Because that could easily have been 100%. Could easily have been 100%. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I don't have a question, but I learned that I should do more review on this lesson to get more comprehension of it.
Okay. Well, I will encourage you to review lessons 21 and 22 if you're still not comfortable with the information. And if when you review it, you still don't understand it, you can ask me questions on it at a later time.
Yes, sir, I will.
All right. It is a good thing to keep on reviewing past lessons because even when you come to a brand new lesson, it builds on the foundation of past lessons. Okay, we're moving on now to the new lesson that has been prepared for today. Well, let me see if I can enlarge this. Good. How to write the conjunction. We know that in English, the conjunction is a word that joins words together or joins sentences together. So it is an important part of grammar. So we're going to be looking at lesson 23, how to write the conjunction. The conjunction and is the consonant wow that is attached to the beginning of a word. It has the simple schwa under it ordinarily. Bear in mind, class, that if there is a consonant in a word and it has no vowel underneath it, the Hebrew grammar requires that the simple schwa be placed underneath it. So if there is a consonant that is any of the letters of the alphabet that does not have a vowel underneath it, it needs to have a schwa underneath it, whether it's a simple schwa or in the case of guttural letters and resh, aleph, a, keth, ayin, and resh, then it must have a composite schwa underneath it. But all other letters require a simple schwa if there is no vowel underneath the consonant. So let us look at the different ways that the conjunction in Hebrew is written. Ordinarily, the conjunction is written like this. You have wow, and underneath it is the simple schwa that looks like our English colon, one dot over the other, and pronounced we, or some Hebrews pronounce it ve. Some pronounce this as vav, or call it vav. Some call it wow, and some pronounce it as v, and others pronounce it as wo, as a w. So you have we or ve. Now here is a noun, atham. In modern Hebrew, it would be pronounced Adam. Atham means a man. That's how it would be translated into English. Atham is a man. Now, when you put the conjunction before the noun atham, this is how it is written. We atham, and a man. We atham, and a man. Here is another example. Here is sus. Sus means, in English, a horse. If you were to put the conjunction before sus, it would read in Hebrew, wesus, wesus, or translated, and a horse, and a horse. So ordinarily, the conjunction is written like this, a wow, or vav, with the simple schwa underneath it. We atham, and a man, wesus, and a horse. Okay, I'm going to remove the floating apps so that I can be able to see everything on the screen. I am still at number 1, giving examples of the ordinary usage of the conjunction, wow, and the simple schwa underneath it. So here is the definite article and the noun. Ha atham, meaning the man. Ha atham, meaning the man. If you were to put the conjunction before the definite article, it would read in Hebrew, we ha atham, we ha atham, and the man would be the English translation. Here is the definite article before sus, and it reads in Hebrew, hasus, hasus, meaning the horse in English. If you put the conjunction before the definite article and the noun, you have we hasus, and the horse. So the first way of writing the conjunction is the wow and the simple schwa underneath it, pronounced we or ve. Now, when the conjunction is attached to the beginning of a word, and the first letter of that word has a schwa, as Shemuel. Notice that shin, sh, has the simple schwa underneath it, Shemuel, which is our Samuel in English. Then, since the word cannot begin with 2 schwas, as we Shemuel, as we saw that we ordinarily write wow with a simple schwa underneath it. But if we were to do it in this case, we have a grammatical problem, because the Hebrew grammar says that 2 schwas cannot stand side by side with each other. Therefore, something has to be done to prevent 2 schwas from being together. And what is done in this case is that the wow takes the form of the long vowel shurek. That is our long U, our long U sound. So this is shurek, a long U sound, and it would be written not as we, but as oo, Shemuel. So this prevents this shawa from being together with that shawa. And so you remove the simple shawa first of all, then you put the dot in the middle of the wow to give you the long vowel shurek, and you write U Shemuel, which is translated as and Samuel, and Samuel. Okay, I'm going to, for my sake, remove the meeting controls. We look at another rule. Before the labials, L-A-B-I-A-L-S, which means letters pronounced with both lips. The word labial means lip. Labials means lips. So these are letters pronounced with both lips pressed together and then released. Both lips closed and then opened up. These are Vaith, Mem, and Fe. And it's more understandable, I think, if you actually read this as if they have the dot in the letter, because if I put the dot here in Vaith, it becomes B. Mem already has the sound of the lip, Mem, and Pe. In all of these B, M, and P, you feel the lips together and then they are released. These are labial letters, letters pronounced with both lips pressed together and released or opened up. So these are labial letters, Beth, Mem, Fe. So when the conjunction is put before a word that starts with any of these labial letters, the conjunction also will take the form of shurek, a wow with a dot in the middle. So here are some examples of this. Here is the preposition bain, meaning between. If you were to put the conjunction before this preposition, and you see that the preposition starts with a labial letter, it's Vaith, in this case, Baith, then you would put it in this form, U, and you would pronounce it uvain, meaning and between. But you may ask, why is it that when you put the conjunction before bain, that you lose the dot that was in the middle of Vaith? How come the dot is not there now when you put the conjunction before the Vaith? Well, note well, the dagesh lene, which we call it, a weak piercing dot in the middle of this consonant, drops out, leaving it vacant, because a vowel, shurek, comes immediately before it. And that's a grammatical rule, that when you have a vowel immediately before a letter that begins, or that a letter that has dagesh lene in it, the dagesh lene is not able to stay in it. It will leave. It will remove itself. It's not strong enough to stay. So the vowel causes it to leave. Hence you have uvain. The dagesh lene in Vaith drops out, leaving behind Vaith because a vowel, shurek, comes immediately before it, uvain, and between.
But it enhances the pronunciation, right, sir?
You say that it enhances the pronunciation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, perhaps it was. Maybe that is why they have made it like that in the Hebrew grammar. Because in some cases in the Hebrew grammar, they make provisions for this to take place in order for the pronunciation of words to be smoother. So that might be correct. So uvein, and between. Okay, I'm about to move on to the next screen. Okay, let us look at this. We're still in number 2. We're looking at Moses. The Hebrew word is Moshe. Just want you to know, though this is not officially part of the lesson, Moshe consists of 2 dots here. There is 1 dot that you don't see right here that is on the left side of Mem, and Shin ordinarily has a dot on the right side of this letter. But when you have a case of a dot over the first consonant and a dot over the second consonant, what happens in Hebrew grammar is that the 2 dots are joined together to form 1 dot. This is why you only see 1 dot present here. But this is Moshe, M-O-S-H-E-H, Moshe, translated into English as Moses. Now, if you're putting a conjunction before a noun that begins with a labial letter, this time the labial letter is Mem or M, then it will be written as a shurek, long vowel U. U Moshe, U Moshe, meaning and Moses. Here's an adverb, po, pe, holem, and he. Po meaning here. This is another labial letter, pe. It is formed by pressing the lips together and then suddenly opening it up, pe. So when you put the conjunction before pe, you would put it like this, as a shurek. And just like what happened in the previous example on the screen, not the example here at the top, but on the other screen that I showed you, uvein, it was bain before, between, but when you put u before bain, the dot in the beth disappears. The same thing happens here with this labial letter. The dot that was there disappears because there is a vowel immediately before it. The dagesh lene in pe drops out because a vowel shurek comes immediately before it. So before shuwa and the labials, veth, mem, fe, the conjunction is shurek. Before shuwa, that is before a word that begins with a shuwa, and before a word that begins with any one of these labial letters, the conjunction will be written as shurek, a long U sound. Okay, we're moving on now to the next screen. And I will remove the floating meeting controls. Number 3, when a conjunction is placed before a word beginning with ye, yoth, and the simple shuwa under the yoth, the yoth becomes silent and shuwa changes into a vowel. Here are some examples. Yehutha is Judah. Yehutha. Now, when you put the conjunction before Yehutha, here's what happens. The simple shuwa under the yoth drops out because the yoth is a quiescent letter. It becomes silent under certain conditions. Now with the simple shuwa gone, what you have left is a long vowel, because the dot under the waw and the yoth is going to come together to form the long vowel hirik. So this is wehutha and Judah, wehutha. I should also point out that not only does the simple shua disappear when this letter yoth becomes silent, but the simple shua underneath the waw also disappears. And let me explain why. Remember, I said you cannot have two shuas together, whether they are simple or whether they are composite, or whether one is simple and the other is composite. They cannot be together. And so the changes take place as follows. This simple shua drops out when this letter becomes silent, that is, it is not pronounced. And the simple shua that was underneath the waw also drops out and leaves behind the dot. And the dot with the yoth form the long vowel hirik. So what you will end up saying is we, which is W-I, hutha, H-U-T-H-A-H, wehutha, meaning and Judah. The same thing happens with Jerusalem, in Hebrew, Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim. When you put the conjunction before Yerushalayim, what happens is not only does the simple shua disappear from underneath the waw, but this yoth becomes silent, and the simple shua underneath it also drops out and is not pronounced. And you combine the yoth with the dot under the waw, it gives you we Rushalayim, meaning and Jerusalem. Number 4, when a conjunction is placed before a composite shua, the simple shua under the conjunction changes to the corresponding short vowel that is found in the composite shua. Let me illustrate that. Here is the pronoun, the personal pronoun I. It is ani. And under the aleph, you have a composite shua. This is called hatef pathak. That is horrid pathak. So it's a composite shua consisting of the short vowel pathak and the simple shua to the right of it. Now, when you have the conjunction coming before this composite shua, the simple shua has to be adjusted under the waw. And so what adjustment is made is that the short vowel that is part of the composite shua under aleph is copied and pasted right here. So there is a short vowel that remains here, but this one is copied and pasted using computer language and placed under waw instead of the simple shua that was originally under the waw, giving you wa, W-A, a short A sound, wa, wa-ani, and I, wa-ani. So when a conjunction is placed before a composite shua, here's the composite shua, the simple shua changes to the corresponding short vowel. The simple shua changes to the corresponding short vowel. Whichever short vowel is here, it will be moved over there. Here's an example of another short vowel. Here is the word ethom, Edom in English. And here is the hatef segol, horrid segol. Here is the short vowel e or segol, which is part of the composite shua. When you put the conjunction before ethom, what happens is that it changes from the simple schwa and it takes the short vowel of the composite schwa and places it underneath it. So you have we, ethom, meaning, and Edom. Now 5 is an exception to number 4. And this is when you have the noun Elohim, which means God. Remember that Aleph is also a quiescent letter. And under certain conditions, we find that the composite schwa underneath the Aleph will disappear. So let me go step by step. So first of all, you put the, let us say you put we, wow, and the simple schwa underneath it before this noun that has a composite schwa under the first consonant. Now, the first step would be to take the segol that is here under the Aleph and put it under the wow, just like here, where ethom. So you do that first. But what happens afterwards is that the composite schwa under Aleph falls out because Aleph becomes quiet. It is not pronounced. And therefore, what has to happen is there has to be a lengthening of the segol that was underneath the wow. The short e has to be lengthened to the long e. That is to the sire, the long e. And this is why you have 2 horizontal dots under the wow. So before Elohim, the conjunction would be we, and it would be pronounced Welohim, Welohim, and God, Welohim. So this is an exception. It may start with this, yes. You may have segol under the wow, but when there is a quiescence of Aleph, there is no pronunciation here. That means that this also here under the Aleph will not be pronounced. And to indicate this in writing, you don't put the composite schwa there anymore. And the segol that was here originally has to compensate for the loss of the composite schwa by lengthening the segol to its long version. So the short e has to be lengthened to long e. The segol has to be lengthened to sire. So that's why we have this form, way, way. That's the conjunction, an exception to number 4. Okay, moving on now. To this other slide. We come to the word Adonai, in modern Hebrew, Adonai, meaning Lord. The vowels of Adonai were used by scribes to put between the 4 consonants of God's personal name, Yod, He, Waw, He, YHWH, producing Yehovah. E-O-A are the vowels, E-O-A, to signal to readers that when they are reading, this in the Hebrew Bible, they should not say Yehovah, but they should remember that these are vowels from Adonai. So instead of saying Yehovah, they will read Adonai. Now this is going to affect the conjunction and the pronunciation of the noun. So when you put the conjunction wow before the 4 consonants of God's personal name, bear in mind that the 4 consonants has the vowels of Adonai placed between the Yod and the He and the Waw, and the Waw and the H. That is between the Y and the H and the W, and the W and the H. So bear that in mind. So since you're going to put wow before this name that starts with the vowel that comes from Adonai, and there is a pathak here under Aleph, then the waw will take the short vowel pathak that is here in the composite shua, and so you'll have wa. Bear in mind that yoth is a quiescent letter, and so whatever was underneath it is going to disappear. It's not going to be pronounced, so there's nothing underneath it. This vowel holem is from Adonai, this dot over here. And this kamis is from kamis here, which is under the noon of this noun Adonai. So you have Wathonai. This would read Wathonai, meaning and the Lord. Okay, I think we're moving on to one more. Let's look at this as we close the lesson. Number 7, when the conjunction stands immediately before the accented syllable, here is a conjunction, and here is a noun that begins with an accented syllable. This is an accented syllable since it's one word, and therefore there is only one place the accent could be, and it's right here. Here is another word that the arrowhead indicates this is where the accented syllable is. So when you put the conjunction before a noun that has a noun beginning with an accented syllable, then the conjunction should be written with a kamis underneath the waw. So when the conjunction stands immediately before the accented syllable, especially when it connects a pair of words, it is wa. Yom, which is day, wa, layla, which is and night, day and night. You find a pair of words connected, day, night. It is yom, wa, layla. Yom, wa, layla. Yom, wa, layla. Day and night. Notice the kamis is underneath it. Good and evil. Tov, which is good. Wa, ra. This is the adjective evil. It has an accent here, but the arrowhead is not there since ordinarily accents go on the last syllable. For practical purposes, this one syllable word will have to count as the last syllable. So there's an accent here, and so this is what you have under the conjunction. It's a kamis. Tov, wa, ra, good and evil. Tov, wa, ra, good and evil. Here's another, or, which is light, wa, and koshek, darkness. Notice that the first syllable is accented. And notice that the holem that was here originally over the left side of ket joins together with the dot that is on the right side of shin to form one dot. So this is really koshek. And the accent is on the first syllable, and the conjunction comes before a noun, and the first syllable is accented, so it must have kamis underneath it. So when the conjunction stands immediately before the accented syllable, especially when it connects a pair of words, it is wa, or wa koshek, light and darkness, or wa koshek, light and darkness. Now, for further information about the Hebrew conjunction, on your own, when you get this PowerPoint, you can click on this light green colored website on YouTube, and you will get a short tutorial on the Hebrew conjunction. Okay, so you can look at that on your own when you get the PowerPoint. Now, I know that this lesson goes into some detail, and some ideas are new. So what you need to do is to read this lesson over and over again. There was hardly a time in my Hebrew classes or in my Greek classes when I fully understood what the teacher was saying. If I did fully understand, it is because I had read the lesson before class, so that when I was being introduced to it, I had already become familiar with it. But if I was learning the lesson for the first time and had never read it before for myself, I would have to go and take up the Hebrew grammar book or the Greek grammar book and read it over and over again. So I'm not expecting that you fully understand what I've just said, but go through it when I send you the PowerPoint and try to understand. And if there is anything you don't understand, we can discuss it further. You can send me an email and ask me questions about it, and I will try to clarify it for you further. Any closing question or comment on the lesson?
Not directly. I know for Greek we have a grammar book, and so we don't have that for Hebrew.
Oh yes, we do. If you go onto JSP Google Drive, you will see a Hebrew textbook there.
Okay.
And what you can do is to go into the table of contents and look for conjunction and find the page. And
Okay.
it will reinforce what I have said in today's lesson. But
Okay.
yes, the school and the students do have access to the books that are on the JSP Google Drive.
Okay.
All right, so we
Is
do have.
that what they call the library?
I am not sure.
Something is called the
Yes, it's the
I know
same.
they have it.
Oh, that's it. Okay then.
They have it electronically along with many other textbooks.
Yes.
So you have the entire Hebrew grammar there, right there on the JSP Google Drive.
Well, thanks.
Okay. And if you're having difficulty accessing it, you can let me know, because I
Sure, I will.
I have it on my thumb drive, and I can easily send it to any student.
Okay then.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, let us go to God in prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you for this time of thinking through some hard grammatical facts, and we pray that you will help us as we go through the information for ourselves, that you will enable us to understand what was presented. May you bless the food and the drink you have provided, and be with us as we come back after lunch to continue our studies. In Jesus' name, amen. And see you after lunch, God sparing our lives.
Yes.